Happy Camper Radio, episode 31. Come on, let's go camping. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show. This is episode 31. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and as always, you, my friends, can be one too. Daniel, you're late.
Oh, I didn't know there was a time.
And, I can tell you this much right now. I know for a fact that you were not out there raking leaves today like I was.
Oh, you were raking? I didn't see a rake. Show me your rake, Skip. I didn't see it.
Well, you didn't look.
Oh,
you were Daniel.
I saw you on a tractor.
I had I had the rake in my hand. I was ready to pass it on to you, and I was going to wave at you. The only reason I didn't do that is, number one, you weren't home, and number two, I know you would have passed that rake on to your wife.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And there ain't no telling what you would have been doing from there on out.
Actually, I broke my rake last year because I was raking so hard that it broke the stick.
I tend to believe your wife broke it over your head's what it is.
Well, you keep thinking that.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you the honors this week of getting our campfire lit for us.
I could bring some of those leaves and put it on the fire.
No, you don't need that.
Oh.
I've got some fire starters.
Okay.
So here you go.
It's Daniel. It's not working.
You know, I have a funny feeling.
Oh, there we go.
I'm going to leave that one alone, pal.
All right.
But anyway, it's great to have you along here. And, I'm really enjoying these cold temperatures.
Are you? They're great.
Yes, so
I got
much.
My thermals on right now.
So much that I have fired up my electric blanket at nighttime.
Ooh.
Yeah. Both sides. I've got a king-size bed, for a guy my size.
It's not a propane-powered
not a chance.
Blanket.
Not a chance. No, pal. Not going to work like that. But I'll tell you what. It's the kind of temperatures that I am really enjoying. I mean, it's not too cold. It's just right. It's
about
perfect.
Mid-50s. About mid-50s.
It is perfect camping weather.
Yeah.
And, and also take note, too, Daniel, that I bolted the door shut this time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Why don't you explain to our listeners why your better half came in here giving you the evil eye at the end of the show last week?
We were.
She got past security. We had a pit bull out here, which not too many of our folks know about. He guards the door, and somehow she must have thrown him a steak and worked her way in here. Because I looked out of the corner of my eye, and I know she wasn't giving me the evil eye.
Well, we were late for a play we were going to.
Yeah.
But I made it.
I'm sure you heard about it the whole time.
Nah, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Listen, people in internet land, he blows all this out of proportion, all right? It is not that bad.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it. The play was not that bad.
Oh, wow. All right.
Our number here is 404-537-CAMP. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, and add us to your circles on Google+. Of course, you can access any one of our social media sites by going to our webpage, which is www.happycamperradio.com. And by all means, while you're there, click on our RSS feed and subscribe to the show. This way, you'll never miss a single episode. And by all means, take Daniel and I camping with you on your next camping expedition.
Yeah, but I'm not paying. They're going to have to pay.
Daniel, right? You never pay.
You can go camping with me, but I'm not paying.
Okay, well, okay, we'll give you a pass this time.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, Daniel, we got a great show lined up for our listeners today. I told you I was going to keep you in suspense.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't I?
I can't wait.
And you're just wondering what on earth are we going to talk about today? Why, you know something, Daniel? We've got a great show, and I think our listeners are going to really enjoy this one here because we're going to talk about camping in windy conditions.
Ah.
Yes.
Well, all you do is close the door to your pop-up. Show done. Thanks. Good night. Good night, everyone. Oh, yeah, you like to rough it.
I can't get enough of it, pal. There's nothing like it at all.
You bring your propane.
I bring everything, Daniel. I'm like the old Boy Scout. I am prepared. I'm always prepared.
I bring electric.
You are so prepared. You're over here borrowing half of my stuff.
No, that's tools for fixing my car.
That's tools, yeah. But the camping supplies are going to come next, I'm sure.
No.
But you know something? There's a few things I want to talk about today as it pertains to camping outside in the, should I say, the fall environments. Because, you know, this time of the year, of course, depending upon what geographical area you're living in, you know, in some cases, the camping is going to be just fine.
Yep.
But like in our region, you know, we've seen the temperatures drop. We've seen the leaves fall. We have seen, you know, the brisk temperatures in the morning time. We've seen them in the evening time. But camping in this type of environment, okay, is going to require a little bit more of your attention.
Yeah, space heater, right?
All right. Now, one of the very first things I want to point out here, before even considering loading up your gear and heading out the door, it's going to be important that you pack everything in your knapsack or whatever you're taking along with you, and make sure you have those items that you are prepared for the brisk temperatures out there. And I tell you, I am guilty of this, Daniel, and this is one of the things I do want to bring up here. Sometimes we can get so caught up in the excitement of getting, getting to our destination,
right,
that if we're not careful, we will forget something so important as a winter coat. Daniel, I'm guilty of this.
Just go to Goodwill. They're cheap.
No, you're not going to find Goodwill anywhere out there in the wilderness. I'm sorry, Daniel.
You're driving to town.
No, when I get to my destination, I stay put.
Oh yeah.
But you know, here's the point I'm trying to make, though. Okay, is oftentimes we can get caught up in the excitement, and it's very easy sometimes for us to forget about some of the important things that we need to pack ahead of time.
Right.
All right. This time of year, you're definitely going to want to bring enough warm clothing for yourself, and don't overlook your youngsters too, okay? You've got to think for them as well. They're just as excited about getting out the door as you are. So you want to make sure that they are packed, they are prepared, and they have everything that they are going to need to stay comfortable during your week-long or weekend expedition, which one you may be going on.
Week-long. Well, Skip, when was the last time you camped in your tent for a week?
It's been a little while, Daniel, but you know the problem is I've got to stay.
That's never internet.
Unlike you, I do have a schedule that I have to keep. Okay, I have things, I have obligations.
He's got a honey-do list from the roommate.
No, I don't think so. You are just as wound up as today. You know what were you drinking? I hope it's not anything that was in that bright red neon cup that you had here last week that was blinding me.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm saucy tonight.
Okay. But anyway, you know, you definitely want to have enough warm clothing. Definitely pack away those wool socks. You know, and you got your long johns on, you say, Daniel?
Yeah, I have a long john shirt on.
Wow.
Let me tell you about this. So I went to Bass Pro Shop.
Is that the one with the trap door on the back?
What? Yeah. Anyway, I went to no, it's just the top. I went to Bass Pro Shop or somewhere one time, and I bought these socks, and they were electric socks. They had like battery packs in the back. So you put
I used to own a pair of those.
That was
many
weird.
Years ago. Yes.
That was really weird.
But you know something,
don't get them wet.
Daniel, I had a pair of them many years ago. I thought they stopped making those.
No, I found them.
Tell me your experience. Did they really keep you warm?
It was weird. I kind of felt electrocuted a little bit. You could feel like the pulses from the electricity going in your feet. It was weird. It was really weird. I guess it did the job though.
Well, is that why your hair sticks up half the time, straight up in the air?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and actually, I have these from when I was at the post office. Well, I still am, but they give you an allowance every year, and they have these waterproof socks, and those will keep your feet really warm because, you know, you can't if water can't get through, air can't get through, and your feet will be really toasty.
Yes, and you definitely want to make sure that you have all your essentials with you that you're going to pack away, in your bags that you're going to take out there, and again, I stress, make sure that you bring enough items to keep warm, not only for yourself but also for your better half and also for your kids. Go through their bags with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure that there's everything that you're going to need to deal with the temperatures that are going to be out there. In some cases, you may wind up going to your campsite only to find out that you don't need those. But I like to bring things along even though I don't need them, because they're there in the event that the temperatures do turn a little bit sour.
You want to know how to really keep your feet warm, really cheap? You put plastic bags on your feet and then put your socks on over the plastic bag. I guarantee your feet will be warm. They'll be sweating.
Well, Daniel, we're not into the wintertime camping yet. That's coming up.
I'm just saying, it depends on, where our people are. Might be in Alaska.
Oh, hey, and one other thing I forgot to mention here.
Uh-oh. Are you abusing our fans?
No, Daniel. I am, and this is another reason I am so pumped up and excited today. Not that I was excited about seeing you here.
Wow. You hear that, people?
But let me tell you what I finally went ahead and done.
What's
this
that?
Past week.
Uh-huh.
I went out and I ordered one of those camping recliners.
Ooh.
And I spent some money.
Oh, wow.
I got the king-size version.
Of course.
I am hoping it's going to be here maybe in about a week.
Well, I do know your mailman.
I didn't want to spend the extra money to have it shipped here to the house.
Oh,
so it's going to come right to the store. It's going to have my name on it. I'm going to pick it up, and like anything that I buy brand new, I test it out on the patio.
Oh, okay. I'll have to come over for that one.
Okay, you're not sitting in the chair. Bring your own.
Oh boy.
No, you can.
I gotta test to make sure the different weights can handle it. I gotta test it too, Skip.
Daniel, if you're gonna come on over,
talk about it on the show.
Hey,
come on now.
Hey, if you're gonna come on over here, I'm expecting you to bring your own chair because I've got the fire pit up there. It's already set up.
Is it?
Yes. In fact, where were you Friday morning?
Working?
No, I'm not at 4:00 a.m.
Oh,
I got up.
Sleeping?
This was one of those rare occasions where I got up so early in the morning. I went out in the back and I put a fire together in the fire pit.
Really?
And I sat out there for about 3 hours.
Wow.
And I fed that fire. It was chilly. I had my coat on. I was dressed warm. And Daniel, it's just kind of like sitting down and listening to the fire that we have burning right now.
Yeah.
If it weren't for you and I sitting here kicking back and forth and running our mouths and really getting into what we're talking about here, we would just be sitting here and listening to this fire. We would be feeling the warmth. We would just be relaxing. And I tell you what, it brings something over you. I don't know. I can't describe it, but it really relaxes me. And I am set to take on the world by the time I'm ready to get up.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, and that's an early morning campfire now. In the evening time, by that time, I'm ready to hit the sack.
Right.
Okay. And I'm all warmed. I'm all well taken care of, and I'm ready to roll into the sleeping bag. That's okay.
That's
okay.
Take a shower after I'm in front of a fire. I'm like, all right, I gotta go take a shower.
All right, I believe you.
Well, I'm glad you do.
Okay.
I never lie.
But hey, I've been there, done that, and I can tell you
that. Did you get the T-shirt?
No, no, I don't.
Killing me.
Well, anyway, we're talking about camping in windy conditions here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Now, when you get to your campsite, that's provided that you get there at a half-decent hour, and you run into problems with windy weather. I highly encourage anybody that is going to be setting up their tent to wait until the winds calm down. Now, this is provided that you've got some really brisk winds out there. And I'm talking about the type of winds where the leaves are shaking back and forth in the trees. You don't want to set your tent up in those type of conditions. Wait till the winds die down, because, when you're trying to set that tent up, I have been there also. I have tried setting a tent up, and a lot of times, Daniel, I'm a one-man show.
Yes, you
I
are.
don't. You know, my kids are grown. They're out there doing their own thing right now. One of these days, they're going to be back at the campsite and they're going to be helping Dad.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to be real excited about it. You know, it'll be nice to have that extra helping hand when I'm out there trying to set my tent up. Okay, but for right now, I'm by myself. And it's going to be twice as difficult to do that when the temperatures are low, when the wind is blowing.
Right.
Okay. So you definitely want to wait till the winds settle down a little bit before you go ahead and set your tent up.
Wouldn't you just put like rocks on each 4 of the corners to hold it down?
Why go through that?
Oh.
Why go through that, Daniel?
When you could have a pop-up.
Because
I totally agree with you, Skip.
I'm talking about setting up your tent now.
Hey, I could set up a tent in the wind.
Okay.
I'd do it.
Yes, you can, and
it.
Yeah, and you'll eventually get it set up.
Exactly.
But we want to try to make everything as easy as we possibly can on ourselves.
Okay, here's my question. What if it doesn't stop windy? You just supposed to sit in your truck or what?
It's eventually going to die down.
No, what if it doesn't?
Okay.
I mean, I'm just
Daniel, it will.
Okay.
It will.
You heard
all
that,
right,
people?
So because these tents these days, unlike the Army surplus tents back in the days when I was a Boy Scout.
Right.
You know, it was a bear hauling those things in and getting them set up.
I thought they slept in caves when you were Boy Scout.
Well, we're going back maybe in my preteen years. Okay.
No, but have you ever heard of those tents that you can like throw and they set up? You just throw them out there and they pop out.
No.
That's what you need. That's exactly what you need.
No, I'm not into that, Daniel. I have a tent that, like I says, and I just replaced it here last year.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic for me. I mean, it requires only one person to set it up.
Well, you have to have one of the cats supervise you. Remember the backyard camp out? You had all the cats supervising.
I had your cats helping me out there.
You needed help, Skip. Those cats were helping you out.
Yeah, well, one of the things that, Daniel, I want to talk about here is, when you're setting a tent up and, you're going to be dealing with wind, you definitely want to make sure that you have some quality tent stakes.
Oh, yeah.
And then that is so important. If you notice a lot of the tent stakes that come with the tents today, when you buy them, you open them up, they're only about 6 inches long. They're very tiny. And they're not going to really hold your tent in place. I am always making a point when I buy a new tent. And like I says, I haven't done it in a long time because the last one lasted me about 16, 17 years. But I went out and I bought these big spikes that are about 1 foot long. All right. And those will definitely hold your tent in place. And you want to go ahead and make sure that you secure your tent to the ground. And when you're using a hammer to put those stakes into the ground, you want to put them in the ground at a 45-degree angle. Okay, it's going to give your tent a lot better strength. All right. And another thing, Daniel, once you get your tent set up, I know we've talked about this before in the past, you definitely want to keep your sleeping bag elevated off the tent floor. Because I have experienced this in the past. When those bad temperatures start rolling in there and you don't have something between your sleeping bag and the floor of that tent, and you've got that sleeping bag rolled out on that piece of canvas there, and you're trying to get a good night's sleep, and you do that for about 3 or 4 days, about 3 or 4 days later, you're going to come down very, very sick.
Really?
Yes, I have been down that road a couple times before.
Why would
and
that
these are lessons that are learned.
Why?
Because Daniel, the temperatures drop. The ground is cold. The ground surface is cold. And that sleeping bag is only going to do you so much justice. And you can be bundled up. You can be bundled up. But the bottom line is, you definitely want to keep that sleeping bag elevated off the ground. Whether you use a foam mattress pad, whether you use a cot, or do like I have done, which is the luxury style. At one point in my life, I went ahead and used a blow-up mattress.
Oh,
yeah, and that works wonder. You want to talk about sleeping on a cloud? Daniel, that's even better than sleeping in your own bed.
I haven't had good experiences. Every time I slip on those, I get a hole somewhere.
Yeah, and you've got to be careful about that too, because the slightest hole, the slightest pinhole in those can put you down on the ground.
Yeah.
But they even make cots for those type of mattresses.
Oh, really?
So, even if it does deflate, at least you will still be up off the ground. But that is a pain. That is something, you really don't want to have to be dealing with.
Right.
When you're out there camping. But, and I have also used some of those patch kits too in trying to fix those up. But, when you're dealing with those tiny little pinholes, yes.
Yeah.
You got to, blow them up. You got to, take some soapy water. You got to hope to find the bubble that's, where the leak is at.
Right.
And it's just chaotic, Daniel. And that's stress that you don't really need to add to your camping experience.
Right.
Okay. But, you definitely want to, take all the necessary precautions while you're out there to make sure that, you're safe, that you're comfortable. And in dealing with these brisk temperatures out there, you want to make sure that you and your family, especially your youngsters, are comfortable too. Make it a good camping experience. You don't want to have a bad one and have them go on home and say, hey, I'm never going to go do that again. It's all about being prepared, and you just can't go wrong if you take the extra steps, take the extra precautions that you need to be safe. Our number here again is 404-537-CAMP. You can call Daniel Daniel and I any time of the day or night, any time of the week. Just give us a shout, leave us your voicemail message, and we'll answer your camping question for you in one of our upcoming episodes. The next thing I want to talk to you about, Daniel, here, and this is also extremely important when you're setting up camp in windy conditions. You've got to be aware of the dangers involved in falling trees and tree limbs. Now, it may look as comfortable and as exciting to be setting up under a canopy, of your tree. But, one of the things you've got to be aware of is, the possibility that maybe one of those branches are going to come down on top of your tent. All right. They can cause injury. They can cause very serious injury. They can cause death.
Yeah.
So, you definitely need to be very mindful of that. Now, granted that, we're not all arborists out there when we go camping. So, we got to use our better judgment. But one of the things you definitely want to do is avoid camping beneath a very large tree. All right? Because sometimes trees will come down. They will come down because of the wind. Sometimes they come down for absolutely no reason at all. And I hate to bring this up, and I don't want to, say this as a matter of trying to scare people, but just this past week, I went ahead online and I did a little bit of research, and I come across just this year alone, Daniel, some situations where some campers were out there camping in the woods, and a tree came down on top of them, and sadly, it took somebody's life.
Wow.
And these things can happen. So, if you're out there camping in the windy conditions, I would I would definitely stay away from those trees as much as I possibly can. They're great for shade. They're great for comfort. It definitely brings that inner camping spirit out in you, when you have that type of a shade over top of you. But you've got to understand, too, that these fallen limbs can cause serious injury or death. One of the things you also want to do, too, that if you are going to be camping near some trees, check out the tree itself. If it has a rotted base, has the soil been softened by rain, this could also play a very important role as to whether or not that tree remains standing during your camping trip, or it may fall. All right. And also, you might want to keep in mind, too, that trees attract lightning. Now, I can't say this time of the year I've seen too many lightning storms out there, but they do pop up from time to time. And if you're, camped out beneath a tree, Daniel, that's as bad as standing out in an open field and holding a metal rod up in the air in an open field during a lightning storm. It's just as dangerous. So you've got to be very careful, and you've got to be very mindful of, all these things, all these factors while you're out there camping, and take them into consideration. Now, I went ahead and I pulled some things up here this past week online, and like I said, there's a lot of things out there, and all you've got to do is just, do your research, and, and it'll make you a better camper. Check and make sure, like it says, the tree, make sure if it's alive. If it's dead, you definitely want to stay away from them. Okay? Especially those tree branches. Are they showing signs of ill health? Are there dead leaves hanging? Are there twigs hanging at the edge of the branches? These things, you want to consider before setting your tent up anywhere. Now, most likely, a lot of our campers, from some of the ones, I've gotten feedback from, they're not out there on a big expedition of any sort. They're out there to enjoy family-style camping, and a lot of folks do that at a public campground, where you don't have a lot of these dangerous situations involved. Okay, but if you are exploring, if you're out there to actually have some peace to yourself with your family, and you're not going to have anybody else around, and you're looking for a place to camp, and you're just not sure of the environment around you, then again you might want to go ahead and keep some of these important points in mind. Okay, so definitely make sure, number one, that you pack your bags. Make sure you pack your kids' bags. Make sure you have lots of warm clothing, because the temperatures, they can fluctuate. They can go up. They can go down. They can go a number of different ways. Also, make sure that when you're staking out your tent, use those large tent stakes, the ones about a foot long. Stake them down at a 45-degree angle, and definitely make sure that you buy enough tent stakes for all corners and your guy ropes. Try to avoid setting up in windy conditions. Keep your sleeping bag elevated off the ground. And again, by all means, watch out for those trees. This is the Happy Camper Radio Show with Skip and Daniel. It's time now for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. This week, we are going to go to the Acorn Campground in California. It is on recreation.gov. It's part of New Hogan Lake, and it's run by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Now, Daniel, this is a great campsite. It is open year-round. They have 128 sites available, and it's a great place to visit. The temperature is regularly soaring above 90 degrees. Now, we're talking out there on the West Coast. Yeah, the 4,400 surface acre lake was created in 1964 with completion of the New Hogan Dam. If you're a fisherman, if you're an angler, this is a great place to fish. They've got stripers, bass, crappie, bluegill, catfish for the experts and the beginners alike. And boating is a popular pastime out there also. A lot of great amenities to consider, and it's right there on our website. They've got an amphitheater, a boat ramp, campfire programs, drinking water, fish cleaning stations, horseback riding, hiking. Daniel, this is the place to be if you're on the West Coast, if you're out there in California this time of year. It is the Acorn Campground in California. And one thing to keep in mind, too, a lot of the sites are walk-in, which means, it's on a first-come, first-served basis. You really don't have to make any reservations this time of the year. But it's a great place to visit. And incidentally, speaking of reservations, not again like you're not going to need it for this particular campground, but you can always sign up for an account, a free account, right there at recreation.gov in the upper right-hand corner. Just simply click on the sign up button. They ask you some personal information there, nothing really too intrusive, but it's going to make your reservation process a whole lot easier anytime that you use recreation.gov. And believe me, I have an account and I've used a number of their campgrounds already. It is a great place. A lot of these great camping destinations, Daniel, I'm so happy they are opened again. Some of these campgrounds year-round. But this is the Acorn Campground in California. It is our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like Daniel and I to feature on the program, get in touch with us. Skip, SKIP, at happycamperradio.com or
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
And probably next week at this time, if his wife has not worn him out doing all the chores,
don't listen
he will be wide awake. He's over here with his eyes closed, pretending.
I'm concentrating. Skip, good God.
He's trying to make it sound like that he's got it together this week. Daniel
on the fire. I'm in the zone.
I can tell that. But anyway, hey, it was glad to have you along. Glad to have you along, our listeners. This is episode 31 of the Happy Camper Radio Show. Don't forget, catch us online anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, Follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker and add us to your circles on Google+. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And you, my friends, can be one too. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.